It's really weird. It's like I spent a lot of my life being like unconsciously being like self-care. Don't do it's not okay. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like an avoidant thing or something. And so or like a selfish feeling thing.
Mm.
And I'm think I'm beginning to get past that feeling of this is selfish because as I like align with my chart and myself and my energy, other things and people in my life also feel better and feel more aligned. So something is going in the right direction.
Welcome to Whole and Unleashed, a podcast about coming home to ourselves. I'm your host, Jessica Locke, a holistic mindset, Strala yoga, and human design guide. This podcast is not about telling you what to do. It's about sharing stories and tools to connect to your inner wisdom and maybe give you an extra nudge towards living wholeheartedly. Because deep down, only you know what's best for you. We'll be talking mindset, business, recovering from burnout, human design, transitions, and so much more. Let's dive in, shall we? Hello, welcome back to another expansion session. Today's episode is with Aimée. We dive deep into exploring her human design, her experiences with chronic health challenges, creativity, and learning how to move through the world with more self-trust and compassion. Here's what Aimée wrote in. I've begun living a more authentically aligned life since 2021 and would love insight, affirmation, clarity on the creative endeavors I'm pursuing as a writer while also dealing with chronic pain and fatigue. So, in this episode, we talk about what it means to navigate burnout, redefine success, reconnect with joy, and embrace the natural rhythms of healing. This conversation touches on the messy, beautiful journey of coming home to ourselves, one step, one breath, one story at a time. Aimée is a 5-1 manifesting generator, split definition, sacral authority, left angle cross of distraction. This conversation was recorded in 2024. I feel like I have to say it because it has been simmering, marinating for a while. Just to give a little bit of context, perhaps the state of the world, depending on whenever you're listening to this. So let's dive in. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you feeling so far?
I'm good. So I have a lot of chronic pain and fatigue, so that's a loaded question with
Oh
me. It's
gosh,
like, yeah,
yes. Yeah, no, that's good to know
I'm
as well
good.
because it also gives us an insight about your capacity and what you're working with currently.
Yes, yes. I was like, I was gonna read what my responses were before we hopped on, and I didn't get to. So I was like, I don't remember if I even mentioned my health
Yes.
stuff.
Yes, you shared a little bit
Okay, okay.
about it in the forum, but I guess this was also maybe a couple weeks back. Where you are right
Yeah.
now also could change, especially, transits, planets, people,
Oh
life,
my gosh, I didn't realize until I saw a post that, yes, the planets are very busy right now.
They're very busy. So we're going to be affected in ways that we don't even know. Maybe we're tired, maybe we're low in
I'm
energy.
so tired, and I mean, I always am, but it's, like, more than usual,
Yeah.
and I've talked with so many friends who are also experiencing the same thing, so and we're sensitive. That
Yeah.
used to feel like a insult, but I'm trying to get
Oh.
over that.
Was that something you noticed growing up, like your sensitivity?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm an only child and had a difficult childhood, so I had to learn how to be an empath. I
Mm.
mean, or I guess that was my survival skill, whatever. So, very young. So, I've got that. Um, and I'm working on shifting it to compassion because the empathy can be a little difficult for me
Mm.
to, I can be over empathetic in a way that's not healthy.
Right.
Um, let's stop there.
Yeah, yeah. Like, kind of overriding your own needs to meet the others.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can so resonate with that. And, like, looking at your chart, I'll share your chart so we can reference what we're
So,
talking about.
thank you. So, I bumped into human design from a woman named Bing Swang in 2020.
Mhm.
And I thought it was fascinating and it clicked with me, but it's I feel really drawn to it now, and, like, looking at my chart again, it still confuses me, but it also is like, "Oh, okay, this is making more and more sense," so that's cool.
I love that. I love that. And I love hearing stories of people who are like, I picked it up, it was fascinating, and then I drop it, but now I want to come back to it again. I'm like, this is just following your own timing. Sometimes there are
Yes.
things that could be so helpful, but if we're not drawn to it, as much as everybody's getting results, it's like, okay, maybe that's not for us yet. So welcome back to this journey.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be in it again.
So what have you learned about your design that was, I guess, the most impactful, or like what clicked when you
The
it's a big loaded question.
Yeah, well, my 5-1, which I can't even you know what I mean when I say that, but I don't exactly even know what I mean when I say that. But the
Right.
5 being, um remind me what the 5 number stands for?
Yeah. Well,
Or
the name that Raha is heretic. Heretic
heretic.
investigator, that's the combination of your
Yeah.
profile.
W
Yeah.
maybe I'm confusing it with I'm trying to remember what so the reflection thing with the manifesting and, that's really clicked with me. I'll be really drawn to different areas and then only want to, like, dive into them surface level,
Mhm, mhm.
and I've always felt like, "What's wrong with me?"
Oh.
Because it seems like I should be diving into things more, but when I heard, I think on a podcast, that people who have that, manifesting aspect are finding those things really for other people, manifesting it for others to be aware of. Maybe I'm
Mm,
misunderstanding that, but I was like,
no, I
"Oh, okay, then this makes a lot of sense." I'm all about connection as a huge, huge, huge thing with me, personal connections, and that's, like, a way in which I get to connect with a lot of different people.
yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, so many great jumping points to start with. First is a 5-1. This is a transpersonal profile. So, like, you're really here to kind of move your energy with the other. You just want to connect. You're also a split definition. So, people with split
Like, does that
definition,
mean
you
I'm confused all the time because I'm like,
it
"Ah!"
yeah, it could be because it feels like there's 2 voices that are not directly talking to each other. So you're like, "Wait, like,
Uh-huh.
how do we align? I wanna make a decision, I feel my sacral, but also, like, this other voice is telling me to maybe wait, so, like, what am I responding to?" And then
Yes,
plus
thank
the
you.
centers that you amplify, you have the pressure centers coming from the head and the root undefined. So you're also, like, amplifying the pressure from the outside world, the pressure of whatever questions, their anxieties, the pressure to do, to get into action, to produce more. All that where you're like, "Wait, what am I supposed to do now?"
Can I okay, so I got into that makes so much sense. I had a mental health and body breakdown at the end of 2019,
Mhm,
and then in 2020, January 2nd, I put in my notice at my botanic gardening job, and I, took a few months to, like, recalibrate, which was very needed, and I jumped into the online writing world, which I have English degrees, so, but I had never been brave enough to share in such a public way, and I did get very drawn into the hustle and the energy of that, of the expectations of, like, of hustling. This is the
yeah,
right word, and I
yeah,
was just putting way too much energy into it. I'm glad I did it, and I can look back and see what happened, but it's brought me to a point where a lot of this is clicking with me. I'm like, "Oh, it's really important for me to figure out who's me and
mm,
who's the other. What's my voice? What's the other voice?" And to make that distinction. And it's taken me till middle life to realize that's been like I hadn't really made the distinction. So it feels good to be and a little awkward
mm.
to try to feel out who I am.
Right, right, and I'm sure so many people, like, I've been in those shoes where it's like, especially when we're very compassionate, sensitive to the energies around us, it's almost like we know how to behave to get love. We know what to do to be safe. How much of that is survival and actually us, and how much is that is just a mask so that we can protect ourselves. And sometimes it works, at the beginning of our life, but as adults, as we start to make more decisions, it's almost like, do I keep that? Like, I don't know any other way. So the
Yeah.
shedding of that is
Yes,
very,
it's such a good
very
word.
exhausting.
Being a snake. I love snakes.
Oh,
Shedding a
I
skin.
wonder what your Chinese zodiac is.
It's
Do
a
you know?
horse.
Oh,
Yeah.
so beautiful, so beautiful.
It
But something I wanted to talk about, especially as a 5/1, the projections. People have projections on you. Why? Because the heretic is here to universalize the solutions, what they see of the world, like really practical things that will help the collective. So the projections really help them be like, hey, can I solve that problem or not? The thing about those projections is that they're not really real. You feel it. You're very aware of how people see you. And there's almost like there's a seductive quality to you that you're not trying, but also you can be misinterpreted because when people are projecting on you, they almost don't see it. They see what you're capable of doing, they see your potential. But is
Yes.
it an actual path you want to walk there? So you're
Not
capable,
always. I did a
right?
lot of saying yes when I didn't really mean yes in my younger years to just
Yeah.
different life paths. And then I actually said no eventually. So like I almost went to graduate school in Memphis. I almost went to PhD school in Atlanta, stuff like that, where I did say yes and it felt like the right thing. And then I was like, mm-mm.
Ooh,
And
what
I feel
made you
really good
say
with the decision.
yeah, what
Yeah.
made you say no?
What?
What made you say no?
Uh, well, in Memphis, it was the housing. I didn't feel like, I mean, it was money. It was really money. Like, I just didn't feel like I could be in a safe place. I was gonna be having to ride the bus at night to do classes into downtown, stuff like that. And then, and also just being afraid to move. I
Mm,
mean, that's part of it for sure. I've been in the same state most of my life. Uh, and then Atlanta, it was the same thing. I didn't have the funding. It was gonna be so much money for a PhD.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like, I'm really glad I got in, but I don't
But
think
yeah.
this is a good
Oh,
long-term idea. Yeah.
right. Okay. Something that ties back to manifesting generator that you brought at the beginning, where you are capable of hopping into many things and then releasing it. So you do have your profile one. Sometimes you feel like you're diving into something on a surface level. I'm pretty sure you go a lot deeper than other people. Your surface level is different than someone else. Like there is depth in it, but you might not be aware of it because it is in your unconscious. So there's this insecurity with the first one, like, I never know enough. I can go deeper. I can study all the programs. But sometimes saying yes to something at the beginning, especially with the sacral, like, yes, try, apply for it, opens the door. Even if you
Yes.
follow through or not,
Yes.
it
That's
doesn't
so
really
true.
matter.
That makes sense, and I have so my dad passed away in November, and he was an energy worker, and I felt his presence very strongly since he passed away, and I feel like he's, guiding me. And I'm doing a lot of subconscious, like, work, just what I'm calling sacred rest, which is something
Mm.
it's really hard for me to be still. Like, and I can keep my body still, but my brain is like constant chatter.
Oh, yes.
Um, so and like guided meditations, gentle music, just and letting like trusting my subconscious to do the work it needs to do while I'm in that space. And it's okay if I remember, and it's okay if I don't. And
Mhm.
so as I've been doing this for a few months, I'd say, and actually, also, I had really bad COVID in 2022, and it shifted my consciousness in a good way a lot.
Mhm.
The physical ramifications were not fun. So the one is making more sense to me too. I'm like, oh, I think this comes up in my writing. I feel like my writing's really intuitive,
Mhm.
and it does have depth. So
Yeah. The one always feels like it doesn't know enough. It's the investigator, right? It's like, we can go deeper. We can go deeper.
yes, yes, thank you. That makes sense.
Right? But also, the one becomes an authority, is an authority for others because of the depth you've gone into things. You might not feel like an authority, but people are like, oh, you've probably researched this. You maybe dip your toes there 1 month ago, even though you're not touching it, but you probably did a lot more diving in than any other people. So those are the qualities that people seek in you. And as a 5/1, a lot of how you move your energy is with the other, is sometimes maybe through a conversation, maybe through, I don't know, an art project together or collaborations. That's part of how this energy wants to move. And, maybe the rest is having some chill days where you are moving energy, but you're not just sitting still because that might not be helpful. Yes, the subconscious work is amazing, but there might be you have a lot of channels, a lot of energy that is really here to be shared with the other. If we stay with it and not move it, it might drive us crazy in a way.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, you can still there are restful activities, I don't know, puzzle making night, I
Yeah, I
don't know
love
if puzzle
puzzles. Yeah.
right? Yeah, maybe that could be you're still moving energy, you're still connecting with the other, but you're not just there are times where you have to be still, have to empty everything out, but there are times where like, "Ooh, am I craving for connection?" Because connection could also be something that is nourishing for you.
So that makes a lot of sense to me too, and it's something I've been sort of avoidant of. I'm an aloof sort of person who just like I like a lot of alone time. I have a small house and, 2 dogs and 3 other people in my family, so that's like and I'm really introverted, so that
Yeah,
feels like a lot. But I've made a very conscious intention in the last year or so to connect with just a few friends and, meet up with them and talk and I do. I feel the energy moving and like and my energy expanding when I'm with them or talking with them, even if it's a phone call.
yeah,
Um, and I was thinking also of crocheting. I took my daughter who's 13 to do a crochet class a few months ago, and that felt like an amazing, magical experience. So
mhm,
it's like these things that sound so mundane
yeah, yeah.
actually have a lot of power and magic. That feels really good to hear.
Yeah, we underestimate, I think also with the pressure from the outside world and technology where we see everybody really sharing their perspectives, screaming at the top of their lungs, which is great and helpful when we are grounded, right? We can take in the
Right.
information. But when we're not, when we're exhausted in a state of like depletion and we keep getting the messaging of like, you can do more. This is the reason you're, I don't know. Yeah, this is the reason you're feeling ill. This is the reason. Like it just kind of agitates us even more. And I've been
Yeah.
sometimes I still oscillate with like, am I doing the right thing? I'm like, oh, wait, I am feeling a lot of amplification and pressure. I feel it in my body. How can I release? I am sensitive. And it was a sign of weakness growing up. It was like, why are you so sensitive? Why you cry all the time? Why does your body react? I'm like, knowing that, I just know how to take care of myself. I'm someone who will need a lot of body care. I need to go to an acupuncturist. I
Me
need
too.
to, do the things that quote unquote normal people, but I don't think a lot of people are like, normal, healthy all the time. A lot of people are carrying things they're not aware of as well,
Right.
or they're not
Yeah.
sharing publicly. So we're all
Right.
moving through stuff. It's just
Mhm.
the illusion that others' lives are perfect that can sometimes make us feel like we're not doing enough.
Yeah.
But, going back to the fifth line and projections, when we're ungrounded in general, like we all get projections from everybody, but with a fifth line, you feel that on an energetic level. Because I remember my husband's a 3/5, and before I found out human design, he used to be like, "But what are people thinking of me? What is my contribution?" I'm like, "Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter what like people's business about you, it doesn't matter, like their opinion doesn't affect them, because I don't feel the effects of the fifth line." And then when I learned about his profile, I'm like, "Oh my God, everything makes sense." And I have been telling him it doesn't matter when it really matters because you feel it like only you notice the projections people have of you, the expectations they have about you, and also noticing that when you're able to meet them, when it feels good to you, it feels amazing. Like you can save the day, but also when you don't meet them, when you might have committed it out of excitement and you don't meet them, it feels like, oh,
Bad.
being burned
Yeah.
at stake. Like that's the energy that the five can kind of like flip flop. One day people love you, and another day it's like, oh, something's wrong with this person. Have you ever
Yeah.
noticed that?
Oh, it's yeah, that resonates.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I've embraced I mean, I felt very, out of place as a kid, and then I finally like, middle school age through high school, I began to find my other people who were not like, cookie cutter, not
yeah.
and that felt really good, and so I think of myself as just kind of weird, but not in a bad way, uh, and I kind of tell myself that I'm not thinking about what other people are thinking about me, but that's not true. What you're saying is true, so it's good to hear it and be able to accept
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the projections can also be such a superpower because the projections and the expectations, it's almost like people see your potential. They see your ability of what your abilities can do, but it's really up to you at the end of the day. You know, your sacral
Right.
authority, your capacity, your energetic capacity, your physical body is like, ooh, do I want to step into that role? Do I want to save the day? Do I want to problem solve? Because you're very capable. And this is when the saying
You.
comes of like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like that, when
Yes.
I first learned, I was like, oh, as a people pleaser, I'm like, oh, is it that simple? Like, really?
It can sound simple and not be that simple to execute.
Yes, isn't that life most of the time? It's
Yes,
like, yeah, it's easier
definitely.
said than done, right? But noticing the projections of like, oh, this is what people are seeing, recognizing in me. Does it feel good for me to step into that persona, into that direction right now? Like, does it light me up? If it's a
So,
no, you can be
it
like, "Hmm,
feels like I got a lot of practice with that writing online.
yeah, yeah.
I got a lot of encouragement and people noticed me, and I, started a publication online, and it's successful, you know? I got really burnt out and, like, "I'm done with this," and people were kind of confused by it, but I passed it on to someone
Mhm.
else who I'm very confident in, and I can, um, I am the founder of that publication, which feels really good, but it felt so good to just release it,
Really
let it
said.
go.
What was
And
the
then
part that burnt you out, if you don't mind me asking?
uh it was keeping up with, like, daily submissions, editing with people, and for me, when I edit, a it's not quick. It's that connection. I'm looking for the connection with the writer, and so I'm putting in a lot of time and effort. And just that was also maybe when some of my health issues were amplified too. I don't remember if it was before that, but it's just like, I don't have the capacity,
Mm.
and I'm really proud of this, but I feel finished with it. I just feel finished.
Can
So
you pause on that "I felt finished" part? Because as a manifesting generator, bringing back to what you brought in, you might start a lot of things because you got this burst of energy and then learning when to release. When it's like,
yes, yes. Yeah, it felt so good, like something that I hadn't really practiced before in a mindful way, and it felt amazing, and it allowed me to just kind of I took a year and just did, like, really easy stuff online to keep my presence there, and then it came to me all of a sudden to do an audio project and so I started that in February, I think, and it's over on Substack, and that feels really good, and it's got there's a beginning and an end to it, which feels really good to me too. So, um, I was gonna say with the Age of Empathy, with leaving that, I wasn't getting paid for it or anything, so I felt like, I've part of this was, like, me apprenticing myself, and I'm ready to monetize this a bit. So which wasn't a possibility where with that publication.
yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that. It also shows us how powerful a release or like endings are because there's so much attachment. Like the way I was taught, like if you build something that's successful, you keep pushing because it works, right?
Right,
Not
right,
everybody gets it. And but then when your energy is not there, like our energy doesn't lie. Like when it's not there
right.
or when it doesn't want to show up, something more is underneath. Like either it's time to let go or maybe there are some stories or mindsets that are coming. But sometimes it's like, how can we release? How can we grieve a little? It's okay to grieve and be like, you know what? I
Yes,
created this baby and like I trust to release it in the world. Now I want to jump on something else.
yes, I've been getting a lot closer with grief. My dad's death has helped with that, but I hadn't really noticed other areas of my life where grief would make sense,
Mm.
and I'm finding myself grieving a lot of things, especially with my health stuff. So and I mean, just my kids getting old, all the things that I feel like maybe culturally we kind of push aside.
Mhm.
Just like, it's okay to feel this. Okay.
Yeah, to take our time with it. Because even as a manifesting generator, you do have a lot of energy. And when the energy comes and everything's aligned, you move really fast. but it doesn't mean that you are like an energizing bunny 24/7, right? Because we also are human. We also have a lot of pressure centers. We are also amplifying things from others. So, like, oh, when you're in a phase where it feels like I need to be a little bit more slow to see what comes next, to tend to my body, because my body has also been holding on to things for years. And with the undefined solar plexus, we amplifies people emotions, their feelings, and sometimes we can
Really?
also we amplify it and we take it in if we're not aware of it. Our body holds on to those feelings, hold on to, because energy
Yes.
is it's a motor, it's also an awareness, and we can hold on to that. Have you noticed in your awareness, like
Yes.
holding on to things that are not yours?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I think that's part of my chronic pain. I don't think it's a whole picture, but I think it's part of it. And I've been doing trauma informed therapy for like about 2 years, and some somatic therapy in that.
Mhm.
And yeah, body work is, you said acupuncture. I did craniosacral therapy and acupuncture on Monday. I have a friend who's really amazing who does that. I do osteomuscular manipulation. Like my body I was gonna say it's high maintenance, but that feels so critical. It just it really sensitive, needs more support.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's something I fought against that I shared earlier where I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I need to spend more money on these things. I need to do all
Right,
that." Like I look at other people in my life, I'm like, "You're fine. Like why do I have all these imbalances? Like I'm
right.
doing perfect things." But there's no such thing. It's almost like, okay, there will be seasons when my body needs extra support. And when I fight it, it's almost like I fight my own body. I'm not saying that's
Yes.
what you're doing, but that's what I
No,
was doing.
yes, I
I was
agree. Yeah,
like resisting it. And then like when I learned to be like, it's okay. Like it's almost the mindset of like, don't feel guilty. Like thank your body for being so sensitive. That
yes,
helps you be aware. It helps you connect to others. And at the
yes,
same time, learning how to teaching. It's almost like reparenting our bodies. Like, it's
totally.
okay. It's okay. Like, because the emotions that sometimes we amplify, we internalize,
Yes,
it can
yes.
stay there because it comes with memories. Do you notice that as well?
Yeah, so I feel like I started doing this at age 2.
Mhm.
So there's a lot built up, you know? I was just like trying to cut myself some slack because I'm realizing all of this and doing self-care and paying extra attention. Like, well, if someone has been avoidant and resisting for 45 years, 43 years, it's probably going to take more than a few months or a year to get everything more balanced.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's okay.
And that's okay. Thank you for sharing that because so many of us, when I was, in my health journey, I'm like, okay, do all those things. You read all those testimonials or people's stories. It's like, I can do it. And then years later, it's like, why? It's obviously it's a different layer. And I know I am more aligned to myself nowadays, but sometimes it's like, the stories come of like, should have, could have, but it's like, it's okay. I can release it. I can release the stories and the expectations that come from the outside. How is your body feeling now that you've been working and tending to it for the past year or two, couple months?
Well, um I have chronic pain, so that doesn't go away, but, I do feel a lot more grounded. I feel a lot more at ease, like, breathing through pain, accepting it,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. So, that's sort of where I am with it. I There's a lot of, self-care for me around pain, and my day is around that and my fatigue, so I don't feel balanced yet, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know, um, I'm a mystery to doctors with the stuff going on with me,
Mhm.
so that's hard. I'm very impatient. I don't know, I'm like, "Is this part of my chart?" I see a lot of frustration. I'm like, "'Cause just
Yeah.
like, I've been trying to find an answer for 5 years on my health
My
stuff.
God. I don't think that's it. I think that's human. Like anybody in
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
position would be
that's true.
frustrated. Like when it comes to health things, I feel like I had a toothache and it just freezes me for, like, everything else,
Totally.
like, the
That's one of
entire
the
world
worst
is
pain.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like any kind of imbalance in our body, any kind of, like, disease, it completely I mean, sometimes I dissociate. I'm like, "Okay, what is the
Oh,
meaning
yeah,
of this? What's the point
totally.
of this?" And it's
Yeah.
such a human thing. Like, you're not I don't wanna say you're impatient. I don't think so, because it's frustrating to not find an answer when you're trying, and also knowing at the same time it's like, "Okay, I'm learning about things about myself."
Yes. I'm like, "Is this supposed to be happening this way?" I was like yesterday, Universe, is it supposed to be happening this way? Are you teaching me patience with this?" It's like, what's but what you said actually really resonates. Like, I've been very unembodied for most of my life as a measure, like you said, disassociating, like, it's too much. I don't want to be this sensitive. It, like, hurts to be this sensitive.
Yeah,
Um, I lost my train of thought, sorry. Dang, it just poofed.
it's okay,
Went
it's
away.
okay, it's
Okay.
okay. But yeah, sometimes, we our bodies shut down because feeling can be too much, especially when we haven't
Oh,
had the capacity. Yeah.
right, that's what I was gonna say, like, is my chronic pain and fatigue just is it really just because I am so sensitive? But I do have, like, weird labs and stuff, so I'm just like, "Okay, I think it's both."
Yeah, it's yeah,
It's
because our
both.
bodies are reactive to the environment, are reactive to everything around us, and then coming back to our bodies, it's almost like, well, it's almost like we abandoned the house, not fully abandoned, but we haven't been tending to the house as much because we didn't know how to, we didn't know we needed to, and now it's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, this might be the reason," and then starting to tend to it also requires extra energy that we might not have a lot to begin with, so it's like, "Wait, so I have to talk about my emotions? Oh, so I have to move my body? Wait, so this is not enough?" So this, taking that into consideration and compassion for like our journey, like it's messy, it's confusing. We have
Yes.
all the right to feel frustrated. Like I don't want you to not acknowledge that, but at the same time, it's be like, okay, how can I support myself? This is be frustrated, let it out, vent it out, and then be like, okay, how can I? And I think, especially for your first line, you've probably done so much research about your conditions and all that. So you're like, why is there no answers? I'm reading everything you're
Uh-huh,
talking about.
yes, exactly.
So, oh, so the insecurity is like, what do you mean I need to surrender? And the investigator, they represent like the foundation of the house, the foundation of everything. So when it feels like our foundation, our bodies are shaky, that will automatically translate to everything else in our lives. So we'll be like, oh,
I
yeah,
feel like I'm in
yeah,
an earthquake, yeah.
yeah, a
Uh-huh.
little bit like that. So it's like tending to like, it's okay. Like there will be times where my emotions will reflect exactly how I feel. And then there will be times where I'm like, okay, I can be more grounded today. I can understand because you're defined. Ajna also wants certainty. Like it's always on. Your mind is always chewing on things, organizing things, is trying to make sense of the past, of the present, of like, it's just active.
Right.
So it's going to use that energy to sometimes turn it inwards in our lives, even though it's not meant to. A lot of your ajna activations, a lot of the activations on the top are, well, all of them are collective for you. So in a way, you are able to help others solve problems. You are able to share your insights with others. But when we try to turn it inwards to your own life, it almost like crossfires. Like it's like
Oh,
it
that's
deflates.
fascinating. So maybe it would be helpful for me to pay a bit more attention outward.
A little bit, like this collective energy in the top, like all that, a lot of your reflections, your storytelling, even the way you organize and you're capable of like seeing things and like what makes sense. How do I organize the data? How do I organize stories? That is like a gift for a collective. This energy is to be moved with the collective.
That's fascinating. I feel like I am a really important part of the collective consciousness,
Yes.
but I've not heard it reflected back to me in that way.
Oh. Yeah, maybe not yet, because a lot of these energies are also projected. So they might recognize it in you, but we talk about projectors needing to recognize themselves, but every other type in human being, it's almost like, how do we recognize our gifts? And then at the same time, knowing like, oh, there are projections. There are good projections, there are bad projections, but they're simply projections. How can I create safety within those projections so it doesn't feel like, like our nervous system flares up when, oh gosh, I set those expectations. I wasn't able to meet them. Now I feel terrible and people hate me. And it might not be what is happening, but that's how your energy feels like, oh my gosh,
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've spent a lot of time the last couple of years figuring out how to not take on negative projections so much and just be like, okay, that's your stuff, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes. Yes. And like other aspect of the undefined solar plexus, sometimes people with their emotional energy, it's almost like they unconsciously, maybe sometimes consciously, emotionally dump. It's like, oh, I'll tell you about all my things.
Oh yeah.
I'm seeing your
That's
face,
something
you know?
I've been trying not to do that I definitely was prone to do for the first half of my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
just please let me like, I feel so bad. I just need to get this out. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe there are times where you are capable of like, oh, reflecting back at them, making them feel good, moving that energy. But when you
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
have the capacity to, it's almost like, oh, okay, I need to protect my peace. I need to ground. Like my body needs extra 10. It's been absorbing a lot. So help me,
Yeah.
release, Yeah. And it's really kind of learning like how do we move these energies and not make stories about them.
Yes. I love that, and it just reminded me the meditation that I've been doing daily, it's about 30 minutes, and one part that really resonates with me is moving I had never heard it before that I remember, moving all of the negative energy through your heels
Mhm.
out, and that just feels like it really clicks with me, like, "Oh, there's a way to offload this. Thank you. Gonna
Yes.
do that."
Little practices like that until our body can be like, okay, we're here, we're present, we're holding all of that. But there are moments where it's too much. And it's okay if we
Mhm.
kind of have to like, okay, breathe, because it's not always presence. It's not always like feel all the feelings. Sometimes there's no capacity.
Yeah.
So our body is always protecting us the best way it does. How can we work with it? How can we tend to that? And at the same time, allow ourselves to pursue the things that bring us joy so it doesn't become just about healing. Because I've been to a journey where I was just obsessed. Like, I can't eat this food, I have to do this, I have to do that. And my life, there wasn't a lot of joy. It was just scared of eating the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing because my body might break. And then, it wasn't until I went to
I've
therapy,
been there too.
naturopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it was
Yeah.
like, it's okay. You can eat that chip.
Yeah.
It's not gonna kill you. You might, your
It's
skin might
finding
not feel
balance
great.
is important. Yes, instead of
Yes.
that harsh, critical but it doesn't work for me. I don't know, maybe it works with I don't think it's great for anyone probably, but the I can use the harsh critic voice to be on a diet for a couple weeks, but and, like, lose some weight, but long term, it's having a negative effect on me, you know?
Yeah.
And I've that's another thing since my dad passed away that's been so I've been really drawn to joy,
Oh,
um, and really experiencing that and sharing it here on earth, so that
yeah.
feels really good.
What brings you joy?
I am a nature girl, so I'm very easily like driving by every morning I drive by the Arkansas rivers in Oklahoma. That's confusing, but uh and there are pelicans just in big I don't know if they're flocks or something else, but on the river. And I've trained myself not to comment on it every time that other people are in the car because
Hi.
I love it, but they're like, okay, we know. So, there's a magnolia tree in my backyard that brings me a lot of joy. Family, writing, connecting with people. It's probably one of my biggest, and with nature. Like if I can sit and gaze at an animal for a while, I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
I can feel the joy irradiating from you as you're just explaining it. And our sacral, it is the center for pleasure, creativity, and joy.
Huh.
How do you feel about your sacral? This is your authority. What do you know about
I
it?
don't know a lot about it. I think my chakras are all messed up. I started feeling that like a few months ago, maybe a month ago. And started listening to some binaural chakra meditations. But I feel a lot of stuckness actually in my sacral area. I feel super stuck,
Mhm. In
stuck
what sense?
energy, and I don't like that.
Right. How does the stuckness feel like in the way you
So it's
create?
actually a very physical like manifestation. I feel bloated and like my digestive system doesn't want to move. That kind of thing.
Is that something you've noticed all your life or or something
No,
you're noticing now?
well, I don't know. I don't know. Um, I think maybe it became more problematic as I got older. Like maybe in childhood it was more of a intuitive, like easy thing.
Mhm, mhm.
I'm not sure. Can you tell me a little bit about
Mhm.
it?
Yeah, yeah, that thing about childhood makes sense, like, the way we're born in the world, the way we operate is how our design is until, the conditioning of the world, like, you
Yeah.
need to make decisions of your mind, but the sacral is all about body pleasure, it's your authority, so it's what makes you a generator. This is the area
Oh,
where
okay.
satisfaction happens, creativity, joy, nurturing others, and the center is really about body consciousness, almost like,
Oh
it's like
my
a
god.
yes, I love this. Like, even when we're talking about joy, part of it, a big part of it is your sacral beaming through you.
Wow, I love that. I love it so much, and I feel like with conditioning and just living life and being human, I shut it off at some point. I was just like, "I can't deal with this. I don't it's not worth it. Like, we're gonna ignore you."
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so when it like, COVID forced so many of us to like focus on some things that we've been avoiding, I think. So or gave us the opportunity. So um I think that happened for me, and I began, like I said, coming back into my body, and I began slowly. It feels like this is like 4 or 5 year journey.
Mhm.
Um, Trusting pleasure, embracing pleasure, making expressive sounds when I eat food that I love, and I do. I have like that's another thing where people are like, "Geez, that's like really," but I do. I feel it that deeply with
Yeah,
and, like, wanting to learn more about being a sensualist, going into that kind of, m mindset has been like, I've been really drawn to it, but it's felt really foreign at the same time, or maybe, like, that's a other people projection thing, like, in my subconscious, I know how to do this, um, but maybe I felt like, "Well, we're not supposed to take time for that."
yeah,
Um, or we're not worth that, or I don't know, I should be saying me. I'm not good enough for that, or just like lots of just stuff that the chatter.
yeah, yeah. The shatter the
uh,
conditioning from the outside world where we hustle culture, where
yeah.
the center gets burned out. And, when I first learned about human design, they used to say, this is life force energy. And people had the assumptions like, oh, generators are here to work. They don't burn out. But honestly, this is it is a it's a life force energy moving through you, but it needs to be nourished, and it gets nourished through our own joy, our own tending to your body. Because when you are fat, you were talking about crocheting earlier and how it was like, wow, like it was so stimulating and it was replenishing because this area needs to replenish. It needs to pour itself into something every day. Like you want to do something that you're excited about, brings you joy every single day because you have the energy to pour forward. But at the same time, you need to nourish that energy. And like by moving it in a container that feels good and then getting it back, that's how this energy moves
Oh,
versus not moving that energy. Oh, I see
yeah.
some light bulbs.
Yeah. Well, I have like come to this meditation on my own where I see like energy being moved from the top of my head, and then I make it dive back down like slowly into the ground. Or no, not into the ground, sorry, back into I guess it could be either way, I'm, like, feeling it out right now, into my feet and back up through me or into the ground, wherever it needs to go, but, like, just realizing, I guess, that my energy isn't stuck in me. That's a huge realization for me. That's so big. Like, I mean, first of all, to feel okay talking about it, and because, not many people are like, yeah, this makes total sense.
Welcome to my
Um,
world.
so, but it doesn't, I'm realizing that doesn't matter. It makes sense to me.
Mm.
that's fine. And I can find the people like you who can support me on my journey. And I don't have to force that on other people. It's just helpful for me.
Yes. And like your sacral is designed to respond to life. Like you see the pelican, you're like, you see, the things that bring you to food, whatever it is, this is, it's also like a primal, it's like a physical response. It's like, I'm here,
Mhm.
I'm in a presence. It's not an awareness center, it's a motor. Like when you're fascinated by something, when you're really drawn to whatever, ooh, the energy pours out. And then knowing it's like, oh, okay, now it's time to come back to myself. And knowing that maybe at the beginning, there will be different opportunities or circumstances where you're excited about something, just like starting your blog that you had initially, you're writing. And then after a while, it tells you, okay, it's time to pull back, it's time to release. If you stay in a place that it no longer feels good in, that's where it drains. It's not able to replenish. It be like, oh, it's almost like I'm letting all this energy out as nothing's coming back in. I'm not moving energy. I'm just draining energy. Have you noticed
Yes,
the
and
difference
I'm
there?
so I mean, I think this is a human thing, but so resistant to change and also worried of disappointing people that I have stayed in situations longer than was good for me in different areas because of those like temperamental things. And I wanted to ask you about I s- I tend to like if I it's really hard for me to stop if I get going, like, so with that generator thing, and like so I was doing way too much
Yeah.
in 2019. That's part of what, like I say, broke me, but,
Mhm, mhm.
um, and I could do it, but it was too much, and I wasn't tending to my body or moving energy or meditating or doing any of those things, and so I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, and maybe I'm doing it now, I don't know, but how to not overextend.
Right, right. And I think with a combination of your energies, when you're, let's say, locked in flow, when you're in something that you really love, notice that sometimes you're going to also be influenced by the pressure centers, the undefined head and the root. You only have one gate hanging there, which is the root. This is the center for adrenaline, your own personal timing. When you have it amplify, you amplify pressure from the outside, like stress from the
Hmm.
outside world. So if somebody or the people around you has a sense of urgency or they're stressed about something, you'll feel it in your physical
Oh, yeah.
body.
Oh, yeah.
Notice if that energy pushes your sacral because you also have a defined heart. Your defined heart is like, oh, I'm going to set this deadline. I'm going to do it. I'm going to move it. I'm going to push myself to do it. Like the defined heart, the
Yes.
ego is like this beautiful will that can move mountains. At the same time, though, doesn't mean it has the awareness of what your body needs. I have a
Yeah.
defined ego and I'm like, oh, I can work nonstop when I'm in flow, but also knowing that my physical human body needs food, needs rest, need to move. Otherwise, my muscles get locked up. So notice if
Yes.
the
Yeah.
pressure,
Like, when I was writing my memoir, I wouldn't get up. I would, like, forget to pee and eat and drink and all that. So, yes.
yeah, yeah. Notice like the pressure centers. They're like, oh, okay, right now, am I feeling a pressure? Is the pressure coming from me, from the flow of the sacral, or is the pressure from the outside? Because that can make your sacral might feel like, well, you want to finish this faster, might as well keep pouring in. You're in a good spot. Like there's no awareness in the sacral. It's just this energy of like, feels good. Let's keep going. It's really up
Uh,
to you.
pleasure. Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
sometimes we
That makes
don't know what is enough or what our human body needs. Even body scan of like during the day we're like working, you're like, take a breather, maybe really check in with your body and be like, huh, I think I'm thirsty or I think I should stretch. Those little reminders can
I
help us kind of come
actually
back.
so I'm gonna mention this, maybe it'll help someone in the audience.
Yes.
Um, I was introduced to an app recently called Finch. It's free. I think you can pay for like extra stuff, but it works just fine for free. And it's got this cute little bird and it's a baby, and you do self-care to help it grow up. And so since self-care is something that's hard for me, this has been really helpful. It's like brush my teeth, check. Brush my teeth at night, check. Take my medicine, check. Even like there. there's like tough day things, which are every day for me. So like stand up for 10 seconds, you know. I have 6 5-minute walks scheduled that I can check off. And then you get to like you earn gems and get to buy clothes and make the house. And so it keeps my brain entertained in a way
Yes.
that other apps like that haven't for me.
Right,
So
right.
we'll see if I stick with it or not. But I've seen other people also talking about how helpful it is. So
I love that. Oh,
bench.
thank you. Thank you for sharing that because like you it's almost like we want our habits, like, for me, like, I'm the worst in taking care of myself. Like, I'm
I
trying to
understand.
prioritize that because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, there's so many cool ideas I'm working on." Like, I can get lost in work, and with the defined ego and heart, like, this is the center about work and rest. Like, I can if I love something, I will lose myself, unfortunately. So I've learned to have guidelines of like, "Okay, you know you cannot sit for 5 hours straight. It is not healthy for you." So that reminder, maybe I'll install the app and see it's like, "Oh, okay." And then it rewards us into like, "Oh, you
Yes.
know."
Yeah, totally. Yes. I want to do my self-care things more now than I
Mm,
did before. I'm not perfect, and that's okay
yeah,
because I'm making progress. It's like I've never read the Atomic Habits, but
oh,
it sounds like pretty a habit stacking kind of. I think it's a similar
yeah, the similar
goal.
concept.
Yeah,
Yeah,
concept.
because we also don't want our habits that are supposed to support us to become to do. That was
Right.
always my, "Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that," versus, like, the intention of, like, "Oh, I get to make breakfast, I get to."
Enjoyable, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
That's
joy.
what my physio sacral friend was saying earlier this week. She was like, "Habits are really important, but they have to bring us joy, or we're not gonna do them because
Mhm. Yes, I mean, okay, you also have the 515. This is like the channel of the rhythm. And the channel of fixed rhythms, I think that's the name for it. And it's basically the combination of two gates, the 5 and the 15. And this is all about tending to your body's own natural rhythm.
Wow.
It is like, what does your body want? Like, you go through phases where you want something. You want to maybe go to the beach every day, want to go to the river every day, and it really grounds you. Or you also have daily rhythms, which is like, I meditate in the morning, I go to bed, like whatever routine and habits, like this helps your sacral replenish, ground. Do you have routines or habits in your day that you notice that really helps you, like, I'm here?
Yes. So, I had a really disorganized, um, growing up, and like, daily rhythms don't come really naturally to me, um, but they feel really good. So, like, when my kids are in school, it feels really good that I know I have to drive them there and pick them up, and we're gonna have a talk, and, like, that's part of the rhythm of my day. It's actually something that I've been focusing on the last maybe month, that's new for me. So, I am, like, I drop the kids off, I come home, I feed the dogs, I take my medicine, I rest, I listen to binaural beats or meditate, and then I get up and I walk around. It's like they're pretty slow days, but
Yeah.
there is a rhythm to it. Yeah, for sure. And the more that I incorporate
Mhm.
um a rhythm, it's almost like I don't want to admit this, the better I feel.
Oh, yeah, I can see the smile in your face.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it
It's like it's really weird. It's like I spent a lot of my life being like unconsciously being like, "Self-care, don't do it's not okay." I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like an avoidant thing or something, and so or like a selfish feeling thing.
mm,
Um, and I would I f I'm think I'm beginning to get past that feeling of this is selfish because as I, like, align with my chart and myself and my energy, other things and people in my life also feel better and feel more aligned. So something is going in the right direction.
oh, yeah. That's something that I a lot of people come to me, it's like, "I don't know about my design, I feel disconnected, I feel stuck," but when we got to talking, I'm like, "You are tending to yourself in ways that doesn't seem logical, but you are doing it." And, like, so many of us are actually more connected to our designs than we realize, and you tending to
Yeah.
yourself, noticing the rhythms, it's like it almost helps us validate the things that we've been doing. It's like, "Oh, like, the mundane things are actually big things."
Important. Yeah, totally. Yes, I've had a hard time embracing that there's magic in the mundane. And there is. There is.
There is. And you're here to show us when you're embodying that, when you're sharing that with the world, it has an impact when we see somebody who is kind of following their own rhythm. You have a rhythm to your own life. You kind of generate your own beat and pattern, like when you're in the flow, like, the people around you get to amplify that. And this is really honoring what is the natural rhythm? Where are you feeling pulled to do? And things will feel a tad less effortless. Like you don't
Yeah,
need
I
to be
feel so
pushing.
much more energized just right now with us talking. Like, yes, yes,
Yes,
ready to
yes.
go outside and walk around and, like, I don't know, ride or do something that's, like, yeah, connecting with the world, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like this is always within you. And it's really recognizing sometimes maybe your mental definition, it's like sometimes it can take over because this is also an area that we are conditioned by the world where it's like, okay, how to be strategic. What are the things you want to do in your life? How are you problem solving? How are you taking care of yourself? Like it becomes so mental. Self care can become so
yes,
mental and judgmental. So maybe the
yes.
stories you have, or even the resistance around like allowing self-care at the beginning could be coming from that mental of like, well, no, you're not doing enough to warrant self-care. You should exhaust yourself. Like, why are you taking care of yourself if you've done nothing all day? Those are the mental chatter sometimes.
Yeah, that's so true. So that's what I did when like I said, when I had my breakdown, that's basically like I just pushed myself to the limit with that stuff. And now I'm learning to treat my days more like someone gave me the advice to treat my days and weeks and scheduling more like a rhythm and more like storytelling the day, which I had never heard
Mhm.
suggested that way. And I was like, oh, you mean I don't have to write like check email from 9 to 9:30, which makes me want to punch someone? Like I just having a
Yes.
schedule, I just a rigid schedule is really something that it feels like I'm getting over this, but for a long time I felt like I should do
Mm,
should have a rigid schedule and I should adhere to it. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't work for me. I just I don't like it. I
yeah,
resist. I'm not finding joy. I'm like, and like, well, there are other ways to do this.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't have to be one way.
And I think this is also like a bigger reflection of like the collective because I've also felt like I had to lock myself into rhythms or like be a business owner. You should do things. You should be responsible. You should post and all those. And I realized so much of it comes from capitalism and the way that things
Yes,
are
thank
set up
you.
to produce nonstop. And it doesn't take into consideration our own natural cycles. There is winter, there is summer, there is a time of retreat. There is a time where our bodies, our menstrual cycle also comes into effect, or the men's
Yes.
24. Like, we cannot just be on because of time. Like, we
Yes.
are overriding ourselves. So
Yes.
whenever you notice, like, I want to punch someone, I cannot do this, that is part of your sacral, part of your body telling you, like, no, like, this
No.
is not for you right now. No. And
Well, and I love what you said too about being a business owner. So just as a freelance writer, um, I felt like that pressure to like post everywhere and engage with everyone. And then I started just observing some more grounded, like spiritual type of business owners and writers who had a lot more boundaries in that area and were like, I noticed that not all of them were posting everywhere, or they weren't, it was just a more authentic way of navigating it and like that it's okay to not post for a day or a week or and to also like noticing with some of the creatives that I love to follow that when I get stuff from them in my inbox, I actually appreciate it that there's a minimal amount of information, that there's not a lot there, that I don't get them all the time, that maybe that they're um unplanned. So I'll get a surprise email from them explaining something. And that's a lot better for me as a I don't like the word consumer, but I'm not sure what else to use right now of art. I like that a lot more than being like, hey, read my stuff. Hey, read my stuff. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Hey, like it's
yes, yes.
that loud chatter.
It's like a woodpecker, and everybody's a
Yeah.
woodpecker. Like, listen
Yes,
to me.
exactly.
because that marketing advice is everywhere, right? But then I think we're also at a time of change where people can sniff inauthenticity, where it's like
Yeah.
you're doing it to meet a schedule. You're not doing it because it comes from the heart. And
Yes,
that is so different.
yes, that's like it brings me to another um that's the sacral authority, right? Respond.
Yeah, the response.
Um, yeah, I get a lot of I mean, I'm signed up for them, but I get a lot of PR emails saying, "Hey, do you wanna write about this documentarian, or do you wanna write about this product, or do you wanna write about this legal issue?" Like, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm really interested. I've and at first, I felt like I had to respond to all of them. So that was a
Mm.
lot of time and, like, thinking and then I realized, no, I don't. I actually don't have to respond to all of these. It's their job to send it out. I don't have to reply. Um, and then I began saying yes to some things, and some of them were like, maybe I shouldn't have said yes." I'm still, like, feeling it out. I actually was going to, review a war documentary, and the footage was too intense for me, and I emailed them back and said, "I'm really sorry, this is important, and I can't do it right now. I it's no." Um, but then also, I'm getting better at figuring out what to say yes to, and that feels so good, and, like, trusting the yes.
Yes.
So, I'll have an article coming out in a few days or less, with a creator of an art book that's really neat, and I'll have, like, a spring product roundup of Earth Day products, and I get compensated because I get to
Yeah.
try out the products, and that's
Yeah.
fun.
Oh,
So, I'm like, this is reminding me so much of the sacral, like, figuring out what's fun because or interesting and that I have the capacity for, um because I love sharing with
yeah.
others,
Oh,
love it,
yeah.
but if I take on too much or not the right thing, man, I freeze up, I get frustrated, I'm just like, "This doesn't feel right, what have I gotten myself into?" So, figuring out that discernment has gosh, it feels so good, and it's really just trust, like, trusting that authority.
Oh, yeah, and it takes practice, right? Like you said, I've
Yes.
tried all these different things, and it's just such a beautiful reflection for anybody listening, for myself as well. Like, just because we can do a lot of things doesn't mean we should do all of them, especially again with the pressure from the outside, like, well, you're getting all these opportunities, you better say yes to all of them. But noticing your own joy, like how your energy moves when you say yes to things that really feel good, and
Mhm.
even the power in saying no to the things that doesn't feel good. Like you said, even with
Yeah.
the war documentary example, it felt like a yes, like the sacral, this is not an awareness center, it's a motor. So it's really in the present. It tells you like kind of like yes, no, or like I need more information. And sometimes,
Mhm.
at the beginning it might be like a yes, and then once you get more information, the sacral might be like, maybe not anymore. And that's okay. Like not feeling guilty about it, not feeling that you've disappointed anyone, especially again with the
Yeah.
fine line. Like it's okay. Like people are going to project, they might feel disappointed anyways. How can you create the safety within yourselves? How can you be like, well, you know what? This is something they're here to learn. This is not about my ability. I'm trusting my capacity.
Yes, and I really appreciate it. I know I won't always get this response, but the person who had reached out to me was so understanding. They understand how hard it is to see that. And I tried, I'd pause it because it was so hard, and it was a screener, so it runs out of like times you can press play, I guess. And I timed myself out with trying to even and I was like, okay, this is what no, this is a big no, especially for someone who's so sensitive.
Mm, yeah.
Like,
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't know. I think I learned that it's an immediate no in the future
Yeah.
for war documentaries.
Oh,
I think I learned
yeah.
that. So,
I don't know if you've noticed, like, with the undefined solar plexus or maybe just our sensitivity, like, there are movies where it's too violent, and I'm like, "I
oh,
know
yeah.
it's pretend, but I cannot watch that because it just my body
Oh,
feels
yeah.
it." And I'm like, I'm just not gonna watch it, I'm just not gonna look at like, and really honoring
Yes.
that, it's like, okay, protecting our own peace.
Yes, and I have gotten really like so many other middle-aged soccer moms, I've gotten into true crime podcasts, which I never thought would happen in a million years. I haven't been listening to them as much, but I can handle, um well, and I am very discerning about, like, what I listen to, but, um, I don't know, like, I'm interested in maybe the more difficult aspects of human history and interactions, but I can process that. I guess my investigator likes to hear, but not see. I'm just like, I need some
Yes.
censorship.
Yes. Oh, you also you wrote in your form at the beginning that you are, about your audio series and how you want to share
Mhm.
stories. I'm like, oh, this is not that you need this validation. Like this is you're a big part of how your energy wants to move because your personality son, the 56, is the gate of the stimulator. Like it's here to tell stories. It's the gate of
Oh my
stimulator.
god, that's so cool. My mom told me the other day that I've been telling stories since I was 2.
Oh,
So
yes. Known as the gate of like the casual historian, the storyteller, it's really about translating the human
oh my god.
experience into language.
I love that so much. My dad he had a PhD in history,
Oh,
and I am not a rigid, like a formal historian at all.
yeah.
But I find like historical fiction is fascinating. So casual history, that makes so much sense to me. It's like, yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes. You're here
exactly.
to
I need more
capture.
joy in it, more fun,
Yes,
more
yes,
story.
and it's all about the spirit, you don't really care that much about yes, facts are important to a degree, but it's not about the accuracy of facts.
You're
Facts are
right.
important, but it's almost about what is the spirit? What is
Yeah.
the human,
Yes, element. Like,
resiliency?
what's the human emotion? What's the drive? What's the motivator? What's gonna happen?
Yes.
Why is this happening? What's the psychology?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
totally.
Oh, you also have, like, part of your 515, the rhythms, the gate of extremes, the 15, this gate is all about the extremes of nature, humanity, and, you will understand that's why maybe true crime can be fascinating to a degree because you're like, "What is the cycle?" I love true crime as much as I'm so scared of other things, true
You
crime
do?
fascinates
Do
me.
you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
I don't know
okay.
why, but I think it's about the human psychology, like, why do people do these things? Like, what brings them? What was their story? Like, what drove them to that?
Well, and how like, it can happen, it seems like pretty easily to sometimes too, like, so how does that like, a normal person get involved in stuff that's very abnormal, like, how yeah, it is very fascinating, and it's story, I mean, there's that part, it's
It's
storytelling.
story yes, and it
Yeah,
also stimulates your brain, like, so your ajna wants to be stimulated all the time. Like,
yes.
probably for meditations that tell you clear your mind, that might feel
I
agonizing
hate
because
those, I hate
yeah.
them, you're right, I can't stand them, and I finally, like, in the last 2 weeks, come to, like, wait, that's okay. I have felt like I can't do quote unquote "real meditation"
Oh,
for so long, and then I was like, "Wait, I've been meditating every day." It's just like it's a guided meditation.
yes, yes.
I've been listening to binaural beat I feel like that's meditative also. Like, I'm doing all of this work, and it counts.
It
It's
counts.
it
Uh,
counts.
you cannot empty your mind. If anything, it goes against your design. It's gonna hurt your mind to try to empty it because it wants something to munch on. Like one of my clients, I tell them, like, you have a nom brain, like a Pac-Man. You just want to be stimulated, and it's okay. It's understanding what kind of stimulation. Do you want something that is energizing or do you want something that is more grounding? Just knowing what kind of stimulation so you can nourish yourself instead of trying to follow the good advice out there that doesn't apply to everyone.
That is so helpful. Thank you. This all is very helpful. That really clicks. Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad. We kind of went all over the place. Is there anything that you're holding that you wanna talk about right now?
Um, I'm still just, like, staring at the graphic and being like, "What does
Yes.
it all mean?"
It's a lot of things.
It is a lot of things. I'm being drawn to this, I don't know what it's called, but the 48, 44
The 48.
area? What is that?
This is the spleen. So your spleen is defined with your ego and it's a split area. So it's almost like this is an unconscious definition. It's about intuition. It's about fears. It's about like, what am I here to fight for? What are the things
Yes,
that needs to be corrected in life?
yes,
Yeah, you feel that.
yes, like, what's
Yes.
my purpose is my whole like,
Yeah.
what and then it's like, okay, your purpose I mean, I'm trying to come to, like, okay, my purpose is I'm doing my being here is purposeful,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
being here.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah, 28 is activated a few times in your chart. So let me see here. Is activated in your earth, your design earth, and your design moon. So the design earth is all about like what grounds you. So it really grounds you to have a purpose. Like, what is my purpose? What do I want to fight for? What is important to me? But you might not always have the energy to get into fights. Like you might read about different movements happening. You might not
Mm,
necessarily want to
I
jump into
don't.
them. Yeah,
As
exactly.
a
You're like,
teenager and in college, I thought that that was a path that might be like, make a lot of sense for me because I felt very passionate
yeah,
about stuff, and then just, like, I don't have the energetic makeup for it. I figured that out eventually,
yeah,
and that I can be, like, an advocate in a quieter way.
yes.
And even I feel like doing self healing, like going to therapy, that kind of thing, spills over into the collective as a healing measure that goes beyond myself. And so that feels really purposeful. But it took me a long time to shut up the critical voice that said, no, it's not.
See, I have the 38 without the 28, and I have an undefined root. And I wanted to fight for things. I'm like, change the world, purpose. You see all this, but then I didn't have the awareness of what is worth fighting for, what is long lasting.
Mm.
I just wanted to like fight for something. So I would commit to cause, do things. And then none of them felt good because I was just fighting because I had this fire inside me, but it wasn't directed in a way that was self sustaining. It was kind of like depleting myself. I'm like, okay, putting posters around the city, but how am I changing the world? Like, how am I
Right.
doing any of that? But you have the awareness. You just don't have the energy to always go out there. When you do follow that, otherwise, it's like you're always grounded in what is purposeful? Like, what am I creating? What am I
Yes.
doing that connects me closer to my purpose?
Well, yeah. And I'm I'm bringing I feel like this year I'm figuring out that my purpose is not as out in the physical world as I thought it should be. Um and like but last year I went it was part of a school requirement, but my at the time 15-year-old son had to do a bunch of volunteering. But it was like I didn't realize it, but here in Tulsa you can sign up to just do like a couple hours. Like you don't have to commit to being a volunteer for a year or whatever. There's a
Mhm.
lot of different opportunities here. And that felt so much better and like sustainable for me than committing to something long term that would be like a long term advocate sort of, you know, plastering posters and going to forums and like more of that outward um political kind of stuff. I am like that upsets me. It agitates me. So,
Yeah.
that's
With
not
your
helpful.
yeah, and with your sensitivity, when you go to those spaces, you're gonna amplify people's rage, their passion, all
No,
great
thank
things.
you.
But you don't,
Too
after
much.
a while, it's like, okay, not right now. Like you also want to be like the 5-1 wants to be in their own bubble. Like it's kind of the
Yeah,
five
that's
is kind of
true.
like, yes, people see me amazing. Please don't see me. I want to be alone. I'm offline right now.
I really love I mean, maybe college is when I figured this out, but I really do if I am able to be a wallflower somewhere, and just, like, nobody notices me, but I can see everything that's going on, that feels pretty great.
Oh, yeah, that's the dance. The first line kind of just be like, "Let me be investigator, let me watch, I don't wanna do anything." And then the 5th line pulls you out, like, your personality side's like, "Ooh, but let's talk to people, let's" and then you're like, "Ah." So it's almost
You're
like a
right, that's
dance.
interesting. Sometimes I'll go to a party or something and feel like more of that one, and then depending on the energy, uh, I can become majorly extroverted and blah, 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 and I'm like, "Who is this person?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
it's
the
not."
5th line, it's almost like it activates it when it gets sort of its audience or something, and it can move that energy. It's here to move it, right? It's here to universalize things. It's not a mental, like none of these energies are super mental. And the way we approach it is mental because that's how we learn about it. But we're not always thinking about like, oh, what rhythm am I putting to my day?
Right.
Oh, is
Yeah.
this the joy? Does the joy feel good to somebody? Like what degree of joy? Like whenever we try to add that filter, it at least hurts my brain. It's like, well, this is not trust when you're over analyzing it so much.
Yeah. Yes. What when you were on the spleen,
Yeah, the
I see
spleen.
a fear was there a fear center or a wound?
Yes, this is also
What
a
it
fear center. So like our awareness centers have fears in the shadow frequency and in the shadows are part of the gift as well, but it's fears is what helps us survive, what keeps us protected. It's almost like the fear of the way humans survive is through fear. We know not to eat certain
Right.
berries. We know that, hey, there's a thunder. Maybe don't stand in the middle of the of the
Yeah.
field.
Right.
Those kind of fears. So the spleen is you have a consistent fear guiding you. Fear of the past repeating itself. Fear of not having enough depth. Fear of not having anything to fight for. Fear of authority, of people questioning the things you pick out.
That's so true. I do get pretty triggered when people are like, when I feel very authoritative about something and they're like, they try to, you know, argue with it. And
Right.
I will be like, you're wrong. But maybe I'm wrong. But I definitely do have that like, and I had so what to me it feels like the right way to express it, psychic fear as a
Mm,
kid and into my 30s. It was a huge presence and a huge thing, like, where I was avoiding the world. I just felt like people were projecting their
yeah.
really hard stuff
Mhm.
onto me, and I couldn't shake it. It was like all of this psychic energy in my fields, and as a kid, it was really over like, I didn't understand. I
Yeah.
like, this is in hindsight that I can say it, but I just felt so scared without, like, a reason to, really.
Right, right. I think being so aware of those fears in your center, and also I think at that young age, you were also so aware of those projections of
Yes.
not being
Yes, that's
truly
what's really
seen.
clicked lately. I was like, "Oh, it wasn't just, like, I don't know, like, it is, it's validating to be to see it in my design." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like
And I
people
chose this, right? We choose our design. So I'm like, "Okay, okay, okay."
and
It was really important.
remembering is also a split definition. So it's something that these energies, this intuition, it's more on the physical side of the body. It's on our unconscious side. So the areas that are more activated, like our mental energy, even though it's unconsciously defined for you, it could be something that you're more aware of. Like you're comfortable with that energy. You notice it, you can connect to your sacral and joy, but then the intuition to fear, it might be a little bit muted. It's not as loud. It's very quiet. Like our the splenic voice is quiet. It's kind of like, hey, you
Huh.
shouldn't do that. Maybe don't try that. Or like, yeah, do it. But when we override it with our thoughts or try to explain it, that's when the voice is like, well, okay, fine. Like I'll repeat it later, but seems like you're not hearing
Yeah.
me. It's yeah.
Well, so I share this other places, but I have OCD, and I from a young age, I mean, I didn't know it at a young I got diagnosed at 39, I think, but I hid it really well. But I my brain would just be chattering pretty much all night while I was sleeping, like, worrying about stuff.
Right,
Um,
right.
so it was like I think my brain really was trying to explain, 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 explain.
Yes.
Um, that somatic body work has really qui quieted that voice, those voices, which feels good.
Yeah,
'Cause so
yeah.
I know that we do need some fear for survival, but it doesn't need to be amplified in a way that makes us, like, freeze.
Yeah, especially I guess as a child, we don't know these energies. We just feel them at such a degree, and you'll feel the pressure often from your undefined head to answer. Fine. So this is the pressure center for questions, inspiration of the universe. And it's almost like imagining it as a big bowl that you have, and you're just amplifying, taking in everyone's questions, everyone's anxiety, like, but why does this happen? How does it happen? What is happening? But you don't have a direct channel that helps you process all those questions. It's almost like the questions are asked, and then your mind is like, well, let's figure it out. Well, we have mental energy. Let's figure it out. Let's solve it. Why are we like this? And then the more we kind of internalize this energy, the more it, kind of deflates and tires itself. Because again, all these energies, none of them is really meant to be turned inwards. Like the mind, there are mental projectors, and it's known as an outer authority. Why? Because their mental energy is meant to be moved outwards, same as yours. Like you're here to talk things out. Like it might be helpful once in a while for you to talk things out, to listen to yourself, to like move this mental energy. Otherwise, it just gets stuck up here. Like when you don't move that energy, when you don't share that mental energy, it becomes heavy and it becomes harder
That is okay, so I was making the connection. I know I'm like, you know how you internalize connections, like you hear them logically and you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
like I'm internalizing and clicking with this connection with the head and the gut. So like in the sacral and
Yeah.
the head. And I've noticed that when I tend to the head energy,
Mhm.
the sacral moves in a good way. It's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
It's
thought I've been going like thinking that I need to focus on the sacral first, but I think it makes maybe more sense to be focusing on the head. Okay. Yeah. Click, click, click.
yeah,
It's
I love
clicking.
it. I love yeah, like a lot of people they think, even when we injure ourselves, let's say like I pull my back and then I go to physio and they're like, "Well, let's address your back because it's pulled." But there are other doctors, sometimes Chinese medicine, they're like, "Well, it's because of your shoulder positioning that your back got pulled."
I
So
wish
it
I could find a doctor who worked on the whole person. That's a problem right now here in the US with it's like I'm being sent to like an endocrinologist, a rheumatologist, to like all different kinds of doctors, and they don't look at the whole person.
oh
They're
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, so
It's frustrating, right? Because they keep treating the symptoms. So unless they can find the
right, not
root
the
of the
underlying
problems.
problem. Like, I would like to know what the issue is, please. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, I wish because I have a lot of clients in the States. They're like, "Do you know?" I'm like, "I don't know anyone in the States. I know people here. I can ask them." The doctors, they're usually
Yeah.
like Chinese medicine doctors. But yeah, like it
Yeah,
could
my
be
dad was
right.
getting into Chinese medicine. Yeah, yeah. So I haven't how I think we do have a practitioner here, and I think my craniosacral friend could probably tell me about them. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll
Yeah.
ask.
Explore and see how that feels because sometimes there are parts of our design where, you might just tend to your mental definition and acknowledge this energy, and then it helps the sacral flow. Like there are parts that we don't know what's blocking. Sometimes it's
Right.
obvious, sometimes it's not as much.
That's the thing. I'm like, you don't see energetic fields, and we don't see our blood and our bones and our sinew and our connective tissue and all the things going. There's just so much going on that we take for granted, don't see, don't acknowledge.
Right. Maybe we don't know how to interpret it yet.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That makes sense. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh, we went through a lot.
We did. Thank you so much. I don't even know what time I'm like, are we over? I don't
We have a few minutes. We can talk
know. Oh,
about
okay.
anything else, but yeah, like, I guess the overall understanding of prioritizing your joy.
I love that. I get to prioritize my joy.
Yeah, yeah, and, like, tend to it and noticing, okay, whenever the pressure centers try to run the show, when
That's
they
what I
try
wanted to
to
ask you about the 60.
mhm, mhm,
What
yeah.
is that?
So the 60 is activated in your personality earth. So it's the gate of acceptance. This is all about knowing there is a pressure to build something new, but because the center is
Uh-huh.
undefined, the pressure comes and goes. Once in a while, you might feel like, I need to build something, I need to create something.
Yes,
Well, those are the
that's very
limitations.
accurate.
Right? And then there's this huge pressure to innovate, like, it connects to the third. The third is all about, like, what it's sorting through the chaos of, like, this is happening and all that, and then it's very impulsive energy, like, the 360, it's part of the individual circuitry, it's this mutative energy that comes in bursts, like, "Let's birth something new, let's birth something different." You just don't know the when or how long something is
When?
incubating.
That's like with the audio project. It was very like, yes, I want to do it. And then I actually did I was like, I it took some time to think about how to execute it, which I usually will just jump in without doing that. And I'm really
Right.
glad I took the time to
Yeah.
think about it because it's made it the rhythm of
Mhm.
doing the project much easier for me.
Yeah.
So, um, because I don't do very well with a schedule that's like a quote unquote normal schedule, I'm I decided with some help from friends who I listen to record 13 episodes at a time. And um it's like it's just a different rhythm. It's different than what other people would do, I think. So I've been able to just like take a break and release the episodes. And then I just takes a couple weeks to do the recording.
Yeah.
then I have another, like, pretty big break where I'm just having to remember to do the mundane stuff, like schedule the email to go out, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I really that goes back to the rhythm. I feel like I am finally finding, like, my rhythm and accepting that it is not like the majorities. It's fine.
Yes. Yes. Part of the wisdom of the 60 is also knowing what are the limitations. There are 24 hours in a day. I sleep for, I don't know, 10. Like how many you sleep for? I need this
Yeah,
for
a
alone
lot.
time. I need this. So understanding that the 60, when you do have the energy build up to go with your sacral, it's almost like, okay, let's bask into this phase, this persona, this whatever this expression is. And it's almost like you transform into the expression. And
Yes,
then
I've been waiting for it to hit me so I can do my second set of recordings, but the planet
right.
isn't cooperating. I might just have to power through.
I think, like, for the month from what I've heard is, like, April is a mess.
Uh-huh,
So,
I saw that.
extra gentleness, extra and it's so helpful because I notice myself every year going into, like, "Let's create," because of the Aries energy, and then I get a little bit stumped because I've been amplifying everybody's excitement, spring, but I don't
Yes!
but it's
Oh
that
my gosh. I hated spring. Like, in college, I started to notice, like and then I don't know, maybe as I got older, it's time does not feel real to me. It's just, like, all smushed together, but so,
yeah,
uh, and spread out. That the vibrancy and the energy of spring, I was just like, "Go away. It is
yeah.
too much. I am overwhelmed." And so hearing about my human design, that makes a lot of sense. But compared to everybody else who was like, "Spring, it's wonderful." I'm like, "Why do I feel mad?"
Yeah, because again, you could be amplifying, like, all the pressure, and then your own rhythm might be like, you just wanna do something else, right? And it's almost like feeling the conflict of like, you're going to be amplifying like, we're human. We even if we move to an island by ourselves, we're going to feel the collective as much as we don't
Mhm,
watch the news, like, it's going to
mhm.
impact us, it's transforming us.
Yep,
So noticing like,
totally.
"Ooh, okay, there are days that I might be more frustrated, and there are days that I'm feeling all that pressure, but is the pressure part of my sacral? Like, is my sacral happy to continue in this flow? Or I'm operating from amplified pressure. I'm
Mm.
operating from someone's timing. Someone like, I need to do
Yes.
this. I need to do this. How can I?
Yeah, or yeah, accepting that people in spring, a lot of people have a lot more energy and are doing projects and stuff, and that's not the time for me to do it, and it's okay. Like, I tend to get more energized in the fall to do
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah. 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 Thank you for all your reflections and sharing. I even throughout the conversation, I'm, like, nodding. I'm like, "This is" you do have a lot of energy that is here to share, like, your voice, your reflections, your wisdom, so please keep sharing. Don't stop. Find outlet that is
Thank
nourishing
you
because
so
we
much.
need your voice.
I like do you go by Jess or Jessica?
Both, but
Oh,
Jess,
so I was like, I
as
don't know
of
what
late.
to put. Thank you, Jess. I appreciate this so much. Just so much information and intuitive information and support and guidance. And man, I was so happy to find that you're offering this to people. It's very generous. And thank you.
Thank you for being here. If you're feeling the pull to deepen your journey of self trust and embodiment, I'd love to invite you to check out Human Design Fundamentals. It's a self paced deconditioning library paired with life group support, designed to help you reconnect to your truth, work with your shadows, and nourish the gifts that make you, you. If you're seeking personalized support, you can also book a one on one session with me. And if you're a human design coach, student, or enthusiast, there are plenty of templates and resources waiting for you to make your work even more easeful. You'll find everything at wholeandunleashed.com. Thank you for being here and see you in the next time.